A lot of people in the comments and just people in general are really curious as to how I studied. So today I wanted to share two main philosophies which I followed in my studying to help me study efficiently and also to ensure that I was prepared for SACs and for the end of year exams. Hi everyone, my name is Darren. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm a first year medical student in Australia studying at Monash University. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel, it would really mean a lot. For today's video, I wanted to talk about the two guiding philosophies that have helped me in my studying, and I've given them names. So the first philosophy is the Retrospective View, and the second philosophy is called There Is No Tomorrow. So these are not ideas and sort of guidelines that I've developed intentionally. Rather, throughout my long time of studying throughout school, I found and identified these as the most effective, and they were really the driving force in my final years, which really helped me to perform well in my VC exams. So first up, we have the retrospective view. Now this philosophy centers around a question that I found myself asking myself a lot, basically every day and every time I studied and every time I thought about a SAC or an exam. And that question was along the lines of, what would I be most nervous about going into the SAC, going into the exam? What would I be most insecure about? What would I be most scared of? And I feel like most of us always have these blind spots, these sort of areas that we are not comfortable with in the subjects that we study. And to really recognize those is the first step. And then I made sure that I worked really hard at them so that when I walked into the test, I wasn't scared at all. I think it's never ever good to walk into an exam or a test scared, or walk into an exam or a test knowing that there are things you don't know. So the best way to do this is to continually ask yourself this question while you are studying. What would I be most scared of if it appeared in the exam? And work at that, identify it, and work at it until you're no longer scared of it. And that way you can fill all those gaps in your foundation and in your knowledge so that you can perform the best you can, and you can go into there with no regrets. You know, if you go in there and you kind of knew that you didn't really know this particular topic, and it comes up in the SAC, like that's just a whole lot of regret. So I highly recommend not doing that. So just a few examples for me. If we're talking about English, for the end of year exam, I was most scared about the comparative part because I found it really difficult to be able to write on the spot with comparative, because I had to find moments that matched in the movie and in the book, and moments that had similar themes that I could develop together. Whereas for, say, text response, I kind of knew the text inside out. I didn't have to compare it to anything, so I found it much easier. So after identifying that weakness, I wrote a lot of comparative essays. I planned a lot of comparative topics, and I thought a lot about thematic paragraphs that I could write. And that really helped me in the final year exam, and yeah, I got 20 out of 20 for it on the final exam, so it did pay off. For specialist maths, I was most scared about vector proofs, especially for I think it was the first SAC that we had, the first SAC, yeah. So vector proofs, I found them hard because proofs in general, I find it difficult to see a path to get the answer. I feel like there's so many variables, so many pathways going on that I don't know exactly which one to take. So the way I did this was I did all the vector proof questions in the textbook. I copied out some of the popular vector proofs, such as, proving that something is a rhombus, and I put them in my notes for the SAC, and I put them in my bound reference for the end of year exam. So that way I wouldn't have to be scared of it going in. For English language, it was short answer that I was most apprehensive about. I knew I could write well and write well in the time given, but short answer, I found myself often stumbling, often not knowing exactly what the question was asking, especially for general things like discourse features. So I really made sure I went over the discourse features, knew the meta language for them, got my teacher to mark a lot of my short answers so that I could really overcompensate for that area that I was weak in, and so I can really perform well in the exam. So yeah, continually ask yourself this question when you're studying. What would I be most scared of in the SAC, in the exam? Really identify it. Don't shy away from it. Tackle it straight on. Make sure you make your weakness into your strength, and that way you can really go into the exam, go into the SAC with no regrets and with confidence. So the second philosophy is called There Is No Tomorrow. Now this is not like some life, well it is I think for some people, but it isn't a life philosophy that I'm trying to push here. This is more of a time management one in relation to your studies. And so I stumbled across this philosophy and sort of cultivated it after I realized that I made several mistakes in the past myself. And these mistakes usually went along these lines. So Tuesday afternoon, I'd be sitting down doing work. Maybe I have a couple questions left that I haven't done yet, and I'm feeling a bit tired. I kind of want to go watch YouTube or play some basketball and sort of knock off for the day. And I'd say, oh, hey, look, on Wednesday, I don't have that much on in the afternoon. Maybe it's due period 6, but I can still do it at lunch. There's nothing I have on at lunch, so I'll just leave it till tomorrow. But then when tomorrow comes, I realize that at lunch, there was maybe a prefect meeting that was spontaneous. Maybe there was a debate going on that I wanted to watch. And if I wanted to leave it after after school on Wednesday, maybe that was when my family had some kind of family dinner on. Maybe my friends were inviting me out for like a quick dinner lunch after school, and I would have to delay that work that I already delayed even further. So the main message behind this philosophy is that never assume that you have more time in the future, because you really don't know. Especially for you guys, you don't have as much of a coronavirus lockdown as severe as we did last year. So hopefully that means you can get to more parties, you have more events with your friends. But that also means that you don't really know when these events are. Like, a lot of them aren't pre-planned. And so it's better to, if you know what work you have to do, because sometimes people forget what work they have to do in the future. But right now, you know what work there is to do. You have the time to do it, so just do it. Don't delay it. Don't think that there is a tomorrow. Don't think that there is more time for you to do it later, because you never really know what happens, and it is so much better to get it done now and get it out of the way, so that whatever ends up coming tomorrow, worst case scenario, you have something on, but you've done the work already, so you can go out there and have fun. And best case scenario, you do end up having nothing on, and then you just have more time to get on top of your studies and do even better in your assessments. Another way of sort of thinking about the philosophy that there is no tomorrow is that by not doing work now, you're sort of locking in your future self. You are forcing your future self into sort of a compartment of that they have to do this work. They can't really do anything else because they've got this work that you've handed to them to do tomorrow or the day after. Whereas if you do the work now, you're freeing up your future self. You have more time and you have sort of more freedom if something does come up to adapt more easily and more readily, so that you can really stay on top of your work. I really can't stress enough how much these strategies and philosophies helped me through my studies. I really only properly identified them in year 12, and these things, the retrospective view and there is no tomorrow, I'll be thinking about them every single day and multiple times a day. So with the retrospective view, that ensured that in any SAC, in any exam, I went in there with no regrets. I went in there with all my bases covered, and I wasn't going in there with glaring weaknesses that could be exploited. And if they do get exploited, then I have no one else to blame but myself. And if they didn't get exploited, that just meant I would sort of feel a false sense of confidence, which might get crippled later on in the end of your exam. With the there is no tomorrow, that ensured that I just worked hard every single day. I didn't think about tomorrow. All I thought about was the questions in front of me, the worksheets in front of me, and the next couple hours, because I didn't really know what was going to happen tomorrow. So I may as well work really hard now and free my future self up for more revision or for some fun times like going out with friends. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. These philosophies are really important, and I hope you're able to apply them and ask yourself these questions in your studies. If you're looking for more VC and studies related content, please check out these videos here. Please like, comment and subscribe if you've enjoyed today's video, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.